Okay, so welcome back. So in our previous video we have successfully set the reducer and the actions for our product details, and now let's handle the UI or the component of the product details. Alright, so if I go to my VS Code and then in the product here, where is components, product, let's create a new file here that is called product details.js. So RACFE to create my basic markup for the arrow function. Okay, so now first of all I go to my notepad to bring in my HTML. So this is a details.html. Alright, so if you want to get it, you can get it from the details.html. So we already have our container, so I simply copy from here. Okay, you don't have to copy the last div. Okay, so I simply copy this one and go here and paste it right here. We have to basically also close these HRs. These are the disadvantages of using basically HTML. We have to replace a lot of things. Okay, so we have to self-close the tags, and then we also have here for the image. Okay, so we also have to close this one, and okay, so now if I simply save it, and let's put in here Control H to replace the class with the class name. So I have to replace them. Okay, so I simply save it and I go to my app.js. Let's bring that in. So I simply import the product details from /components / the product and then / the product details. Alright, and then let's put in here, I simply Control C and V here, and that the path is /product / the ID of that product. Alright, and the component is going to be the product details. Alright, and then let's simply save it. And if I go to my Chrome, and you can see that I have my static data here. If I click on this one, you will see that we have our submit review model here. Alright, so now let's replace this with our data. Now I also want to tell you that close these two files, that I'm using here bootstrap model, this one. Alright, when I click on this button, submit review, it will target the rating model, which is this one, and display all the data in it. I hope that you know about these basic things. Alright, so we have done our HTML, and now if I also have to go back and check for if there is any warning, we are fine with these. Okay, so now we simply have to send the request to this ID, okay, and get back the product details. Right, when I reload it, I have to pass in the ID of that product, and then we get the information back and we display that here. Alright, so simply go to the top. I first of all bring in here the use effect hook. Alright, and then let's go here and use effect, and you have to pass the empty arrow function, then the dependencies of the array that we want to use, and then we simply have to type in here dispatch, and also we have to bring in the dispatch, use dispatch, and then the use selector from the React Redux. So let's import them. So import use what is this, use dispatch, and then the use selector. Alright, let's bring them in from the React Redux. Okay, and then let's also bring in our function import from get product details, and then let's also bring in the clear errors. Okay, from // actions / the product actions. Okay, and then in here we simply have to use here, so const the dispatch equals to use dispatch. Okay, and then I simply have to send the request in the use effect. So I simply type here dispatch, and we have to basically send get the product details, and remember we also have to pass in the ID of that product. You can see that here. So the ID will be this one, so we get it from the match.params.id. So remember we also have in the backend request.params.id. So on the front end we have this match, then the params, what is the param, and this is the param, which is the ID. Okay, so we have to bring in the match from the props. So simply basically destructure it from here in the parameters match, and I simply pass in here match.params.id. okay, and then we simply have to bring in, so const product, we have to simply bring in, let's destructure here, we have to bring in the loading, possible error, and then the product. Okay, so I have to use here use selector state, and state dot product details. Okay, so if there is an error, so if error, and I simply have to alert dot error, we also have to bring in the alert, and I pass in here the error. Then we also have to clear the errors, so I simply dispatch it from here, the clear errors. Alright, so we have to also bring in the alert, so let's type here or import the use alert from the React alert. So we also have to use it, so const alert equals to use alert. Alright, so let's put in here the alert in the dependencies array of the use effect, and then also put in here the error. Let's also put in here the match.params.id. So whatever changes in them, if error is changed, we have to again call the use effect. Then if there's change in the ID, then we also have to get the product details of that particular ID. Alright, so let's save it, and now I also bring in my loader. Oh, that is alright, so let's also bring in our import the loader from // layout, and then / the loader. Right, so if there's a loading, we have to display the loader, and also we have to bring in the metadata. So metadata, so let's bring in here the metadata. Okay, let's go here and replace everything. So I will basically check that if there is loading, if there is loading, then you have to simply display the loader. But if there is not loading, then I simply have to display here the fragment or other details. So I simply bring in the fragment from here. Okay, and let's cut it from here. Let's also wrap this inside the fragment. Alright, first of all I paste my content here, and then let's put in here the fragment here. I simply cut it from here, go to the bottom and put in here. Simply save it. Okay, alright, so if it is loading, we have to display the loader, otherwise we have to display the product details. And let's just put in here the product name. Okay, so in the A3 I will simply type product dot name. Simply save it. Okay, so now if I simply go back to my Chrome to see here, so cannot reach structured property loading of object as it is undefined. So loading is undefined. Oh, this is capital P. I have to go back and put in here the small p. Simply save it. And now if I simply go back, you will see here the title. It is a CAN USB FT adapter. Alright, so let's replace all the details here. So first of all, let's add here the image component. So we know that we have multiple images, so I have to add here a slider for images, and for that I'm going to use the React Bootstrap component that is called carousel, right? So I simply import first of all that. So import carousel and bring in from the React Bootstrap. Okay, so I simply go in here and let's simply type here the carousel and give it a option of pause. Okay, so I simply pass in here hover. When I hover over the image, I have to pause that. Okay, and then let's simply put in here images that I want to basically display. Okay, so product dot images, we have an array of images, and make sure that the product dot images exists. Then product dot images dot map. Okay, and we map through each image, and we simply have to display here the carousel dot item. Okay, so each slide is an item, so we simply pass in here the key, which is the image dot public underscore ID. Okay, and then in the carousel item I will simply pass in here the object of image, and the source is going to be the image dot URL. Okay, and the alt, let's put the product dot title, and we also have to pass in here the class. So class name will be d block, okay, display block, and then I will give here width of 100%. Okay, and now if I simply save it, go back to my Chrome and reload it. Okay, so that is image.url. Oh, we have to put in here the round brackets. Simply save it, and now if I go back, you will see here we get our image here. Okay, and if I go to the page that has apples, go to here, you can see that we are getting the multiple images slider here like this. Okay, so now we're done with the images. Let's replace everything here. So I simply go back and let's put in here the product ID. So that is product._id. Simply save it, and for the ratings I simply go to my product. Let's copy this with style with. So I simply copy it from here. So Control C and go back to product details, and in product details in the rating inner I put in here, and then here I'm simply going to put the num of reviews. So product dot num of reviews. Okay, here I put the price, so that is going to be the product dot price, and then we have to put in here the description. Okay, and that is product dot description. Simply save it, and let's also have to type in here the name of the seller. So I simply type here the product dot seller. Okay, and now if I go to the top and go back once again, so we have the product ID here, we have the reviews, number of reviews, stars are filled, price is here, description is here, seller name is here. And now let's handle this in stock and out stock logic. So if I simply go back, and here it is, in stock, here I will simply type here that if product dot stock is greater than 0, then I have to display here the in stock. Okay, else I have to display here out of stock. Okay, also I have to change the color. So what I do is I simply type here the class name, and in the class name I simply type here that if product dot stock is greater than 0, then I have to display the green color. Okay, else I have to display the red color. Okay, so these are the classes in my CSS file. I can show you here. That is green. You can see that green color and the red color. So I have added the classes. Now if I simply save it. Okay, so there is some issue here. So that is column. If I simply save it, and now if I go back to my Chrome and reload it, you will see here now the in stock is green. And if I go to the home page from here, and let's open this Apple MacBook. This is consider this now out of stock. Alright, so now I successfully added all the information on this page: title, ID, images, price, status of stock, description, sorted by everything. And I hope that you understand. We simply have get the details from the state, and the new thing is this carousel. So this carousel is bootstrap component it is pretty much like this slider. So on the pause, basically on the hover, we have to pause the images, and then we have to loop through all the images and display the carousel item, and we have pass in the image that we want to display. Alright, so that's it. I hope that you understand. If there is still any confusion, you can definitely ask me a question. I'm always here to help you. Okay, so now before moving on, I want to add the pagination, the filters, and this search functionality in my next section. Alright, so I will see you in the next section.